Good afternoon, everyone. So we will be starting with refrigeration and air conditioning. Myself, Mr. Rishabh Melwanki, I am professor. My qualification is MTech in thermal engineering. We'll see the syllabus first and then discuss what are the course outcomes of this subject. So we'll first see the syllabus. So the course code is MEC 604. We have six modules in refrigeration and air conditioning. So first one is introduction to refrigeration, and in this module we have the basics which we have studied in thermodynamics like Carnot refrigerator, star level, Bell-Coleman cycle. You have not studied. So star from here star level will be new. Star level is there, then Bell-Coleman cycle and aircraft air refrigeration system. So basically, module number one is related to air, using air as medium for refrigeration and air conditioning. So that will be module number one. Module number two is vapor compression refrigeration system. Very important module. So most of the devices, if you see refrigerator is there, air conditioner is there. Most of the devices work on this vapor compression refrigeration cycle. So that this module is very important. So we have vapor compression refrigeration system. Then the different components are there in the vapor compression refrigeration system. Then different type of refrigerants are there and cooling tower. So basically we'll study in detail what is cooling tower, different types of cooling towers. Similarly, what are the components and different type of components. So this we will cover in module number two. In module number three, we have other refrigeration systems. So these systems are, this one is vapor compression. Module number two, we have vapor compression refrigeration system. In module number three, we have vapor absorption refrigeration system. So compression and absorption. So these are the two different systems. So we'll see what is absorption refrigeration system, and also we have non-conventional refrigeration systems. So these things we will be covering in module number three. Then so first three modules, if you see, these are related to refrigeration systems. Next module, module number four to module number six, mostly we have air conditioning. So module number four, we have psychrometry. So again, this part is in air conditioning. So lot of things we have to study in psychrometry. Then module number five is a design of air conditioning systems and duct design. Okay, very big module, module number five. And module number six is controls and applications. Okay, now we'll see what are the objectives of refrigeration and air conditioning. So first one is to study working and operating principles of air refrigeration. So this will be module number one, air refrigeration, then vapor compression, module number two, and vapor absorption system, module number three. Next, second objective of refrigeration air conditioning is to study the components of refrigeration and air conditioning system. So here you already know refrigerator and air conditioner is made up of number of components. So in detail we will be studying each and every component, what are the different types and so on. Okay, and we'll see how to design air conditioning systems. Okay, if time permits, now we will even see some softwares as well. Okay, in air conditioning, we have many softwares also. For basic analysis, it is there. Then even industry people use some softwares. Okay, for selection of devices and also for implementation of project, some softwares are used. Okay, one major software which is used, it is known as HAP. Okay, HAP, carrier HAP. So mostly we will try to organize a session where actual designing we will be conducting. So we'll take an example of a room and we'll try to design air conditioning system for that room based on number of occupants, what are the other heating sources are there in the room. So that type of example, but that will be like, it is like extra activity which mostly we will find some time, and we'll definitely do this activity maybe through guest lecture, or if guest lecture is not possible, I'll take that session. So we'll try to take some example, like we'll design a seminar hall or like that, and we'll do it by two methods. One will be manual method, and second one will be using Carrier app. Okay. So Carrier app is a software, and a manual method is also there. So for that we require some data books. Okay, so Carrier handbook is there, which we can use to get some data for designing the air conditioning system. So these are some things which are beyond the syllabus, and we'll try to cover this either through guest lecture or some extra lectures either on Saturday or Sunday. uh, Course objective 3, to study controls and application of refrigeration and air conditioning. Next, we will see what are the course outcomes. Course outcome is also known as CO in short. So, what do you mean by course outcome? Course outcome means what the students or learners will be able to do after studying refrigeration and air conditioning. So, first course outcome is to demonstrate. Students will be able to demonstrate fundamental principles of refrigeration and air conditioning, vapor absorption, non-conventional system, and analyze air refrigeration systems. So this is first course outcome. Second course outcome is learners or students will be able to explain the components of vapor compression refrigeration system, different types of refrigerants, different types of cooling towers, their working, and analyze vapor compression refrigeration system. Uh, Third CO course outcome is learners will be able to illustrate air conditioning processes using psychrometry and design air conditioning system using cooling load calculations. Fourth course outcome for theory of refrigeration and air conditioning is explain controls and application of refrigeration and air conditioning and estimate duct parameters. Okay, so based on these four COs, we will be going through our syllabus. These are some reference books listed over here. Okay, so refrigeration and air conditioning by first one is refrigeration and air conditioning by CP Arora, a very good book for understanding theory concepts. Second, refrigeration and air conditioning by Manohar Prasad. Third one, refrigeration and air conditioning by R.S. Khurmi. Next one is refrigeration and air conditioning by D.S. Kumar. See, here I'll tell you one thing. Whatever notes, whatever theory notes, whatever theory part I will be teaching, it will be combination of all the textbooks. Okay. So next one is basic refrigeration and air conditioning by P. Ananta Narayana. And next you can see the list over here. This list of ASHRAE handbooks. Okay, so here you can see the list of ASHRAE and ISHRAE handbooks. So ASHRAE handbook of fundamental, ASHRAE handbook of system, ASHRAE handbook of equipments. These are three ASHRAE handbooks, and below that we have two ISHRAE handbooks, ISHRAE air conditioning handbook and ISHRAE refrigeration handbook. So again, these handbooks, these are like Bibles. Okay, you will be getting all the latest information of the research which is being carried out in refrigeration and air conditioning field in these handbooks. Okay, so some of the content which we have in our syllabus will be taken from these handbooks as well. Okay, next one is Principles of Refrigeration by R. J. Dosset. Refrigeration air conditioning by Stoker. Next one is modern air conditioning practice by CP Arora. Okay, so for your use, I will be providing you refrigeration and air conditioning by RS Kurma. Okay, next we will see practical refrigeration and air conditioning practical course outcomes. Okay, so before that we will see what are the list of the experiments. So the course code of the refrigeration and air conditioning lab is MEL 604. These are the experiments which have been listed over here. So first one is study of domestic refrigerator along with wiring diagram. So here basically details of this we will see in the practical session. Second one is study of leak detection, evacuation and charging procedure for refrigerant. Third one is trial on water cooler. Fourth one, trial on window air conditioner. 5A, study the humidification process. 5B, study the dehumidification process. Sixth experiment, trial on cooling tower. Seventh experiment, steady state simulation of vapor compression refrigeration system using Coolpack software. And eighth one will be technical report on visit. So we will be having a industrial visit this semester. After the visit, you have to submit the report. That will be experiment number 8. You have to attach the report. Now the objectives of refrigeration and air conditioning lab. Okay, so we'll see that objective 1, to study operating principles of vapor compression system. Second objective is to study components of refrigeration and air conditioning system. Third is to study controls and applications of refrigeration and air conditioning. So whenever we are taking the practical session, the whatever the setup is there in detail, I will be explaining you what are the different components, what could be the type of different type of those components. Okay, all the things we will be discussing during the practical session. Okay, now course outcomes of refrigeration and air conditioning lab. Okay, so students or learners will be able to identify parts. Okay, what are the different parts of that refrigerator or air conditioner? So students will be able to identify parts, operate and compute COP of refrigerator and air conditioning system. Refrigeration and air conditioning system. Second, students will be able to plot processes on psychrometric chart. Third, compute performance of cooling tower. Fourth, simulate vapor compression refrigeration system. And fifth one, write technical report of industrial visit. Refrigeration and air conditioning syllabus, we have 4 credits for RAC. Okay, module number 1 here you can see in detail. It is for 8 hours. We'll have methods of refrigeration. First law, second law applied to refrigerating machines, Carnot refrigerator. So we'll be starting with module number 1. Then coefficient of performance, energy efficiency ratio, BEE star rating, then aircraft air refrigeration systems as well. Okay, now also we will be covering air refrigeration system, which is also known as Bell-Coleman cycle. So this is module number 1. Module number 2, we will be having vapor compression refrigeration system, cooling tower and refrigerants, which is for 12 hours. Module number 3, we have other refrigeration systems, vapor absorption systems, vapor absorption refrigeration systems and non-conventional systems. Module number 4, we have psychrometry. Module number 5, we have design of air conditioning systems and duct design. And module number 6, we have controls and applications of refrigeration and air conditioning. Now we'll have 2 internal assessment exams, IA1 and IA2 for 20 marks each, and average of that 20 will be taken. End semester exam will be of 80 marks, which will have 6 questions, and you have to solve any 4 questions. Each question will be 20 marks, and first question will be compulsory. Rest questions will be mixture of module 1 to module 6. And question number 1, which is compulsory, will cover maximum content of the syllabus. Now we'll see some basics of thermodynamics, which will be required for refrigeration and air conditioning. Okay, so you have already seen these are all the basic things which we have covered already in thermodynamics. A system, what do you mean by a system? System is quantity of matter in region, and a system has a boundary, and outside the boundary whatever is the things are there, we call it as surrounding. Okay, so what are the different types of boundary? It is real boundary or imaginary boundary. Okay, boundary can also be fixed or movable. Okay, then we had seen these systems, closed system, which is also known as control mass or non-flow system. A closed system is a system in which mass doesn't cross the boundary. So here you can see one example has been given. This is a cylinder and piston arrangement. So when you are attaching a burner outside the cylinder, the boundary is moving. That is why this is called moving boundary work. And since mass is not crossing the system boundary, this is closed system. Only energy can cross the boundary. Okay, mass cannot cross the boundary. So such a system is called closed system. Then we have open system in which both mass and energy can cross the control volume. So here you can see this is the control volume which has been shown, and this is a nozzle. And this part is the imaginary boundary at inlet and exit, and the surface of the nozzle, inner surface of the nozzle, forms the real boundary. Okay, so real boundary, imaginary boundary, and whatever the system is there, in case of open system we call it as control volume. This system is also called flow system. Now why we are studying this system over here is because whatever the refrigeration or air conditioning system which we are going to study, they will be a closed loop, but they will be open system. Like suppose compressor is there, so mass is entering the compressor and mass is leaving the compressor. Okay, as well as we are supplying work to the compressor, so energy is transferring across the boundary. So this is the application of this open system. So basically whatever the components are there in vapor compression refrigeration system, so components, they can be classified based on closed system and open system. Okay, next one is isolated system, which is also known as closed system with no energy interaction. So what is the example of this? Neither mass nor energy transfer occurs in this case. An example is thermos flask and universe. Okay, now a small introduction has been given over here about reversible process. Okay, so whenever you show a process on PV or TH diagram, okay, we call it as reversible process. Okay, those processes are not actual process. We cannot show a actual process on PV and TH diagram with the help of a solid line. Okay, so I'll show you one slide over here. Okay, here you can see if the process is actual process. Okay, suppose initial state is 1 and final state is 2, and the system undergoes a process. Okay, here you can see a cylinder has been a cylinder is there and piston is there. In between cylinder and piston we have gas, and above the piston weight has been kept, and we have stops over here. Okay, now suppose heat is supplied to the system, then what will happen? The piston will move in upward direction. Okay, and maximum it can reach up to this top. Okay, but this process is actual process, so we cannot show this process by a solid line on PV diagram. Okay, it has been shown over here by dotted line. Okay, but when we consider a quasi-static process or a quasi-equilibrium process, it is also known as reversible process. Okay, what do you mean by reversible process? If you go from 1 to 2, again you can go back from 2 to 1 without any change in surrounding or system. Okay, I mean system and surrounding both can return to the original state. Okay, that is the definition of a reversible process. Okay, so that is why here you can see this process is very slow. Okay, and it goes through infinite number of points, so there will be infinite number of points over here, and the process is extremely slow process. Okay, this process is known as quasi-static process. It passes through infinite number of equilibrium states, and then only when we can draw a solid line from 1 to 2. So this is the meaning of reversible process. Next we will see some laws of thermodynamics. So zeroth law of thermodynamics. So I'll directly go to the diagram part. Suppose for example we are considering two bodies, body A and body B. They are in thermal equilibrium with body C. Then body A and body B is also in thermal equilibrium with each other. Okay, this is zeroth law of thermodynamics. Okay, now what is the significance of this zeroth law? This becomes basis for temperature measurement. Next, we will see first law of thermodynamics. So there are different forms of first law. Basic form is law of conservation of energy, which is energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can be only change. It can only change forms. Okay. Now, first law of thermodynamics for a cycle. What is that? It is given by Joule's experiment. So this experiment you have studied before. So this is a adiabatic vessel. Adiabatic means heat transfer is zero, and we have a thermometer over here, and a stirrer is there. We have a pulley and a weight has been attached. So if this weight moves down, what will happen? This weight will move down because of the gravity. This stirrer will be rotating. Okay, and it will stir whatever the fluid is present in the vessel. Okay, so what will happen? This work, it is converted into heat because of the stirring action, and here the temperature of the liquid will increase. Okay, now according to the first law of thermodynamics for a cycle, summation of work during a cycle is equal to is proportional to summation of heat during the cycle, and when you remove the proportionality sign, we get J over here, Joule's equivalent. Okay, so basically what we can get from here is, and this J value is 1. This we get from the sign convention. Okay, so for SI units. So basically what is the outcome of this first law of thermodynamics for a cycle? Summation of work for a cycle is equal to summation of heat for a cycle. Then first law of thermodynamics for a process, it is the equation is like this: change in internal energy is equal to heat minus work. Okay. Next one, first law of thermodynamics for isolated system, it is dE is equal to 0. Okay, so E will be constant. So energy for isolated system is always constant. So this is first law of thermodynamics for isolated system. Okay, now we'll see the second law of thermodynamics. So first question arises, why we study second law? Because there is some limitation of first law. Like first law doesn't give you direction of energy transfer. Okay, so that is why we study second law of thermodynamics. What is the example of the direction? Suppose we have a cup of coffee, hot cup of coffee. Heat will travel from hot coffee to environment. So heat transfers from higher temperature to lower temperature. So this is the meaning of direction. So second law of thermodynamics gives us the direction. Okay. Now, what do you mean by a thermal reservoir? Thermal reservoir is a system of infinite capacity. Okay. Heat transfer. If the heat transfer takes place from the thermal reservoir, its temperature doesn't change. Okay, so I have shown here example. Suppose here we have a thermal reservoir which is high temperature thermal reservoir, which is known as source. Okay, so what do you mean by source? System of infinite capacity such that when heat is taken from it, its temperature remain invariant. So this thermal reservoir is called source when we are taking heat from it, and even though we are taking heat from it, its temperature doesn't change. Similarly, next reservoir is known as sink. Okay, what is the definition of sink? System of infinite capacity such that when heat is given to it, its temperature remain invariant. So if you have a sink and you are rejecting the heat or you are giving the heat to the sink, its temperature doesn't change. That is known as sink. Next statement. So we have two statement of second law of thermodynamics. One is Kelvin Planck statement, which talks about heat engine. So which we are not going in detail over here. And second statement is Clausius statement. So which is related to refrigeration and air conditioning. Okay, so we'll see the Clausius statement of second law of thermodynamics. So here you can see I have shown the diagram of refrigerator. Okay, so basically refrigerator will be having there is a space over here which has to be refrigerated. Okay, inside the refrigerator we have the environment and we have refrigerating system. Okay, so here you can see we have refrigerator which will be having some processes, and that processes will form a cycle. So four processes are there and it will be forming a cycle. Now in order to transfer heat from low temperature, refrigerator is maintained at low temperature. Suppose for example, I'm giving you an example. Freezer, suppose freezer of the refrigerator, we are maintaining at minus 19, and refrigerator we are maintaining at 4 degrees Celsius, suppose. So we'll talk in detail about the temperature variation in the refrigerator, okay, during the practical session. Okay, it is not like a refrigerator throughout is having same temperature. Okay, we'll see what are the temperature ranges afterwards. So basically a refrigerator, inside a refrigerator, everywhere temperature is not same. Okay, in freezer, if the temperature is minus 19 degrees Celsius, okay, in actual refrigerator, the temperature might be 4 degrees Celsius. Okay, it's like that. And again in refrigerator also there are different, uh, according to the height, the temperature of the different cabinets, different shelf also changes. Okay, so we'll discuss this in the practical session. So basically we have environment and we have cold refrigerator space. It will be the refrigerated cabinet, and we have four processes. We have four components in vapor compression system. So here you can see four components have been shown, and these four components will be following four processes which will complete a cycle. Okay, and we have to supply work. So that is the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, Clausius statement. It is impossible to construct a device that operates in a cycle. Here I have shown a cycle and produces no effect other than transfer of heat from low temperature to high temperature body. Basically, what is the meaning of this is, here you can see work supplied to the refrigerator is zero. In this way, you cannot transfer heat from low temperature to high temperature. Why? Because in order to transfer heat from low temperature to high temperature, we need to supply work. Okay. From high temperature to low temperature, I had given you example of hot coffee. Okay. If you are keeping a hot coffee, cup of coffee on the table, heat will transfer naturally from coffee to surrounding. But when you want to transfer heat from cold refrigerated space to environment, we have to supply work. Okay, how we can achieve that we will see in this subject. Now, if you consider this Clausius statement, from this we can get two devices. Okay, okay. So first one we will see reversed heat engine. So heat engine is what? Heat engine. Here I have shown you heat engine. In case of heat engine, we have T1, it is written over here, T1 is greater than T2. Okay, so T1 will be source. We have seen type of reservoirs, thermal reservoir. So T1 is source and T2 is sink. And this is engine. So for engine, we are supplying Q1 amount of heat. We get some work W net and we are rejecting some Q2 amount of heat. This is Kelvin Planck statement. We have to reject some amount of heat. Now, what do you mean by reversed heat engine? We are basically reversing this engine. So here you can see this E we have reversed over here, and the arrows are also reversed. So heat, you can see the arrow has been reversed here and here also. Q1 arrow is reversed, Q2 arrow is reversed, even W arrow is reversed. So basically here we are supplying heat. In case of engine, we are supplying heat, we are getting work, some heat we are rejecting. This is engine. And reversed heat engine is what? We are taking heat from some reservoir with the help of some external work, and we are rejecting this Q2 plus W net amount of heat to T1 reservoir. Okay, so this is known as reversed heat engine. Now we have two types of reversed heat engine. First one is refrigerator and second one is heat pump. So we'll see first refrigerator. So what do you mean by a refrigerator? In case of refrigerator, again, I have shown over here, T1 is there, higher temperature reservoir, which is what? Surrounding. Okay, so here you can see one more diagram has been shown. So T1 is what? This kitchen. Kitchen means it is surrounding atmosphere. So it is at higher temperature. Okay, then refrigerator is there. So basically refrigerator means what? Vapor compression refrigeration system, 4 components are there. So these 4 components will be following 4 processes, and these 4 processes constitute the vapor compression refrigeration cycle, to which we are supplying energy in the form of electricity. So we are supplying electricity. And T2 is what? Food compartment. So suppose in refrigerator we are maintaining 4 degrees Celsius. So T2 is what? This lower temperature reservoir is what? Food compartment. And what is T1? It is kitchen. Okay, so here also you can see, if you compare this diagram, W dot is what? Power which we are supplying electrical energy to the refrigerator. And the refrigerator, with the help of a device which is known as condenser, it is rejecting the heat, whatever it is taking the heat from the food products, it is rejecting that heat Q dot H to the atmosphere. Okay, so that is this Q dot H which has been written over here. So basically what happens is, a refrigerator, when we are supplying the work, it is taking the Q2 heat from the food product, and summation of this Q2 and W net, it is rejected where? To the kitchen or surrounding. Now, when you are concerned with refrigerator, we define a term which is known as COP. In that case, the definition of COP, we take Q2 as the desired effect. So what is the COP? It is desired effect, which is Q2 upon power input, which is W net. Okay, it's like that. So Q2 will be desired effect in case of refrigerator. This you have to remember. Now, suppose, okay, I'll give you one more example over here. Okay, one more example I'll give. Suppose instead of this refrigerator, we have AC. Okay, so here we have AC. Suppose we have AC over here. What is the temperature which we keep for the room? Suppose it is 24 degrees Celsius. Temperature of the room which we are keeping, it is 24 degree Celsius. Now this will not be kitchen. Okay, heat rejected. This will be what? It will be surrounding. It will be room, outside the room. So if you consider air conditioner, there are 2 units. No? You might have seen, if you consider split AC, there are 2 units. One unit is indoor unit, which is called IDU, and one unit is outdoor unit, which is called ODU. Okay, so outdoor unit which is connected outside, there you will, if you place your hand outside the unit, now you will find that that unit is throwing hot air. Okay, so that is what this heat is being rejected to surrounding. Okay, but that is the heat we are talking about, heat rejected, and that is the heat which is rejected to surrounding. Whereas if you consider the room, okay, this lower part, this part is the room where we are maintaining 24 degrees Celsius. Example. So what will air conditioner do? Again, in air conditioner, air conditioning system will be having 4 components. These 4 components will be performing 4 processes, and together they will constitute a vapor compression refrigeration cycle. We are supplying the work through electricity to this system, and because of that, the system is taking heat from the room, and it is rejecting this Q dot L plus W amount of heat to the surrounding. Okay, so in this way we have a refrigerator and air conditioner. Okay, in detail we will be looking at what is the difference between refrigerator and air conditioner afterwards. We'll see what is the definition of refrigerator. So when the desired effect is cooling, the reversed heat engine is called refrigerator. So when you want cooling effect, that device is known as either refrigerator or air conditioner. In that case, we are interested with this Q2. So here we'll see some small calculation. We'll apply first law of thermodynamics to this refrigerator. This E is what? Reversed E is what? Refrigerator. So energy in is equal to energy out according to first law of thermodynamics. Energy is conserved. Okay. So what is energy in? Just see the arrows. If you see this circle, reversed E, what is energy into this circle? Q2. Okay. So Q2 plus W net is equal to what is the energy out? Q1. So from here, just arrange the terms. What you will get, W net is what? Q1 minus Q2. Now we'll define COP of refrigerator, coefficient of performance. What is that? Desired effect upon work supplied. What is the desired effect for refrigerator? It is cooling effect, which is Q2. So Q2 upon what is the work supplied? W net. Now W net is what? Let me highlight that. What is W net? This is W net. And here we have W net. So W net is Q1 minus Q2. So we can substitute this Q1 minus Q2 in W net. So what is the final formula of COP of refrigerator? It is Q2 upon Q1 minus Q2. Okay, please make a note of this COP formula. Now this COP formula, it is valid for both refrigerator as well as air conditioner. Okay, this you have to remember. Next one we will see heat pump. Okay, so first question, what do you mean by heat pump? When the desired effect is heating, the reversed heat engine is called heat pump. So we have seen there are two types of reversed heat engine. One is refrigerator or air conditioner and second one is heat pump. Now in case of heat pump, let me explain you first diagram over here. So this T1 is high temperature reservoir. Why? Because here it has been written T1 is greater than T2. So T1 is high temperature reservoir. This is reversed heat engine and T2 is low temperature reservoir. And Q1 is the heat which is supplied to this T1 reservoir. Okay, now what is the actual application of this? Let me explain you that. Okay, so you can see the second diagram which has been shown on the right hand side. Okay, now what is the application of heat pump? What is the application of air conditioner? Air conditioning is used mainly in hot and humid condition. Okay, so there we use air conditioner. Where is heat pump used? It is used in countries like USA, or you can also consider Kashmir is there. You can also consider UK, Canada, where there is snowfall. Okay, so there what they use is instead of air conditioner, they use heat pump. Okay, so the T1 reservoir is the warm indoor. So suppose here example has been shown indoor conditions, it is suppose 20 degrees Celsius. Suppose outdoor condition is 4 degrees Celsius. So what is the objective of heat pump? It will take heat from 4 degrees Celsius outside and supply that heat to the room. Okay, this is the application of heat pump. We'll again see the analysis of this heat pump. Okay, so again if you consider the heat pump, consider this reversed heat engine E. We can write down by the first law of thermodynamics, energy in is equal to energy out. What is energy in? This is W net plus Q2. This is energy in. Okay, so W net plus Q2. This is energy in. And what is energy out? Energy out is Q1. You can see the arrow. Energy out is Q1. So energy out is Q1. So just rearrange the terms. What we will get? W net is equal to Q1 minus Q2. Now in case of refrigerator, we had defined COP. Same COP, definition of COP is same here. COP is desired effect upon work supply. But what is the desired effect here? Heating effect, which is given by Q1. So COP of heat pump will be Q1 upon W net. Now what is this W net? We have derived over here. W net is Q1 minus Q2. So what will be COP? COP will be Q1 upon, instead of W net, we are substituting this Q1 minus Q2. So COP is Q1 upon Q1 minus Q2. So this is about heat pump. Now we'll compare all the three devices over here. First one is heat engine. Okay, so heat engine, we are not interested in the heat engine in refrigeration and air conditioning. But in case of heat engine, we define efficiency, which is given by, here you should remember that when I'm using the term T1, T2, Q1, Q2, so T1 will be high temperature, T2 will be low temperature, and Q1 will be heat supplied, or it is related to heat interaction with T1. Similarly, Q2 will be heat interaction, either heat is supplied or heat is rejected with the T2 reservoir. Okay, so this is the meaning of this. So suppose instead of this T1 I am writing TH. It's fine, only the notation of the formula will change. So here if I am writing TH and on the lower side I am writing TL. So this Q1 will become QH and Q2 will become QL. Okay, so here the formula will change accordingly. It will become QH minus QL upon QH. Okay, but the basic formula will remain same, only notations are changing. So first device is heat engine, second device is refrigerator, and third device is heat pump. So if you see the difference in the formulas, efficiency is given by Q1 minus Q2 upon Q1. Okay, COP of refrigerator, it is given by desired effect is what? Q2 for refrigerator, cooling effect. Okay, upon work W net, and W net what we had derived, it is Q1 minus Q2. So what is COP? It is Q2 upon Q1 minus Q2. Similarly, if you consider heat pump, okay, what is the desired effect in the heat pump? Desired effect is heating effect. Okay, so in case of COP of the heat pump, we will have Q1 upon W net, and W net we had defined as Q1 minus Q2. So here you should understand that this Q for COP, it is Q for lower reservoir upon Q for higher reservoir minus Q for lower. And for heat pump, it is Q high upon Q high minus Q low. So this differentiation between refrigerator and heat pump, you should understand clearly. I'll repeat again. Okay, here you will see the all the three devices again. Okay, in case of refrigerator or air conditioner, this Q dot L is the desired effect. Okay, lower one. And if you consider heat pump, whatever heat we are supplying to the room, that is the desired effect. And surrounding is cool in case of heat pump. But in case of refrigerator or air conditioner, surrounding is hot. Okay, and compartment or room, that will be cold. Okay, this difference you have to keep in mind. Now, based on this, there is one simple relation between COP of heat pump and COP of refrigerator. So here you can see COP of refrigerator has been written, which we derive using refrigerator diagram and first law of thermodynamics, energy in equal to energy out. Similarly, COP of heat pump, which we derived already using this diagram and energy in equal to energy out. So I have written here COP of refrigerator, I have written here COP of heat pump. Now I have to develop a relation. COP of heat pump, like that is this COP, is 1 plus COP of refrigerator. So how to do that? Okay, so COP of heat pump is what? It is Q1 upon W net. And what is this Q1? Q1 is what? Here you can see Q1 is W net plus Q2. So just let me highlight this thing. So COP of heat pump is Q1 upon W net. And what is this? In numerator we have Q1. What is this Q1? It is W net plus Q2. So I have written over here in numerator instead of Q1 W net plus Q2. Okay. Now just take the denominators on both the sides, separate the denominator, you will get 1 plus Q2 upon W net. Okay, now COP of heat pump is 1 plus, what is this Q2 upon W net? Here you can see Q2 upon W net. It is what? COP of refrigerator. Okay, so here we have proved that COP of heat pump is equal to 1 plus COP of refrigerator. With this, we'll stop over here. In next lecture, we will see what do you mean by turn off refrigeration.